Welcome to another week of dysfunction. Here's Jackie and Matt.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm not. Shut the fuck up. Not you.
I know.
Dog.
What a cute dog.
No, she's barking at Artemis. So, I've been trying to put Artemis down to sleep, but we ran out of milk. So she finally fell asleep. Grayson gets home with milk, and now she's awake. But then she hurt her knee, and I knew she was in pain because she kept crying. Your child has a specific cry that you just know when they're in pain, not like their normal cry.
Mm-hmm.
But Grayson can't tell. So I was trying to figure it out, and I was telling him, hey, she's in pain, and finally he realized it was her knee.
I wonder if most guys have difficulty picking that cry out.
I feel like because we're the ones that literally have them in our stomach,
right,
and we're with them, we have to be with them from the day they're born 24/7. We naturally understand.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I just know how Artemis feels all the time.
Mother's intuition. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So you can tell
also,
the
there's...
Sorry.
No, well, I was going to say also there's some people that I do this with too, not just my daughter.
Oh. Like me.
Yes, like you and Danny, it's really bad. Actually, Danny's is worse than yours. I have to specifically block her out of my day in order for me to function properly sometimes.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain
maybe
that.
Psychically connected in some ways.
I think we are. I think we are more than we'd like to believe, but it gets sometimes it's really bad. No, we address it because sometimes I know specifically when she has extreme emotion because I could feel it, and my head starts to kind of feel funny, not like a headache, but pressure, and then my forehead has a lot of pressure, and I'll usually tell her and reach out to her to see if she's okay.
It's interesting.
But when I'm busy, I have to block her out because then I won't get work done.
Like when I asked you, this weekend when I asked you how you thought her session was going.
Yeah, I had to block her out to make sure I didn't feel everything she did because I know those types of things are intense. And it made me so tired that day. I was so tired.
That's so weird.
I don't know how to explain it.
I'm not going to lie.
So it was on my birthday, right?
Yeah.
I was really tired. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. I end up in a lot of pain and bleeding everywhere.
I wonder if that has anything to do with her, what happened during her session. Have you spoken with her about it yet?
No, not really. I've been waiting until they record so I can support her.
Good.
I don't want to know all the details and then not watch her thing.
I don't think we're supposed to know everything until we go. I could be wrong.
That's true too. No, that makes sense actually.
Right. Yeah. Because she wasn't allowed to hear or get any feedback at all from Erica.
I haven't talked to her that far, honestly.
Yeah. Everyone's been real fucking busy the last 2-3 weeks, I want to say. Or not real busy, just again.
We've been busy with busy work, right?
I don't know. I haven't really had a chance to talk to either of you that much to even figure out if it's busy work. Is that what you call
it? So I know she's been busy. I know she's had things back to back to back to back. What I consider busy work is my schedule doesn't have any room, you know? Yep. Sometimes I have a very flexible schedule. Flexible for me, not Matt's flexible. But
what is Matt's flexible?
You're flexible whenever we call you.
That's true.
Yeah, and I'm not like that. I wish I could be, but I'm not. If I was like that, I wouldn't get anything done.
I will drop anything for good friends.
Well, I would drop anything, but at the same time, I also have to be responsible. I have a child.
That's true.
It was totally different before I had a kid.
I'll bet. So, yeah, you two both have been really picked it up the last, 2 or 3 weeks. I wonder if your kids are going through some sort of developmental change. I mean, they are their kids. They always are.
Yeah. But there's big ones.
Yeah.
I know her daughter's going through a 2-year-old sleep regression, and growth pains.
Oh, so they
So
don't sleep as much?
imagine it's either they're really tired that they can't sleep, or they're really hyper that they can't sleep. So yeah, they can't sleep. But it's weird because they'll wake up in the middle of the night. They start having nightmares around 2. They'll start having real dreams, which start to freak them out. Like babies have dreams starting like 1-year-olds. What science can like detect at least. But 2 years old is when you start seeing like nightmares, and nightmares are supposed to protect you when you're awake or give you like premonitions, so on and so forth. But 2 years old to 4 are really bad with nightmares. Like really bad.
That's interesting.
And then imagine your whole body being stretched so that it can grow into a new form. That's what her daughter's going through.
I must be 2 to 4. Just kidding. That's gotta suck though.
Yeah.
I get those every once in a while. They're not.
You still do?
I'm not growing. No, just like that feeling like in your elbows and your knees, like
you're old.
No. It's you get it from like when. Yeah, maybe. Fuck.
Yeah, that's aging, and lack of stretching. You should be stretching on a daily basis.
Oh, I am not doing that at all. I will though. I should.
You should. No, you really need to, because age is determined by how flexible you are, not how old you look, really.
And I'm mentally flexible, but I cannot move my body like I want to be able to. So I should definitely be stretching.
At least like simple yoga, or
I will start today.
Like when you were a child, you were able to lift your foot up and put it in your mouth.
Yep, I remember that.
Can you do that now?
No.
Okay, then there's a problem.
Yeah, probably.
Sorry, I'm eating. So I made Jolly Rancher edible.
Oh, did you use distillate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm still in pain. It's not that bad. Like, actually, I'm not in pain most of the day. When I'm really tired.
Sunday or from back?
Okay. From Sunday.
Word.
And then usually when I get too tired and my body wants to give up, that's when the pain hits.
That stinks. So it's like right when you're going to bed.
Yeah, just about. It's like my body, it's like I block it out all day just so I can function enough. And then once my body doesn't want to function anymore, it shuts down and I'm just in pain.
That's gotta suck. You ever get woken up because of pain?
Yes.
It's only from toothaches.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been woken up by a toothache. No, that's a lie. I did once. Wisdom tooth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But not that bad.
Good. What about cramps?
So the first time I woke up from excruciating pain, I ended up in the hospital. The second time, and this was all from the gallbladder, which is so frustrating because I was pregnant and I was scared.
And I didn't think that thing did anything until I met you.
Dude, it feels like you have a heart attack. Like you're having a heart attack. Your chest hurts so bad. Your left side hurts. You feel like you can't breathe. The pain from your stomach is going all the way into your chest.
Like a heart attack.
And you can't move. Like you physically cannot move. So I would wake up in the middle of the night 3 times a night holding on to Grayson and crying. And me being an idiot, be like, oh, this is probably part of pregnancy. No, it fucking isn't. Yeah. I'm getting a gallbladder attack right now.
Jesus.
And then I would wake up to eat food just so that Artemis had some nutrients, no matter what I ate. I had cereal. I would throw up Fruity Pebbles. I had fruits. I would throw that up. I would only eat strawberries because it was the only thing for some reason Artemis was like wanting. And it was my second trimester. It was the only thing I could keep down until I started throwing up strawberries and I knew something was really wrong. So.
Strawberries, huh?
But the night I actually got my gallbladder removed, I was having KFC, you know, the bowl?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I was eating the KFC bowl. Grayson and I were cleaning up the restaurant. We were power washing the floor in the restaurant and the walls. And we went to sit down to eat for a little bit. And oh my fucking God. It was excruciating pain. It was worse than when I would wake up in the middle of the night. And I just started throwing up everywhere. I threw up on the table in the restaurant. I threw up everywhere. And then they took me in and they're like, yeah, we finally figured out what it was after the 4th time I went to the hospital in the maternity ward. And they're like, even my doctors kept taking scans and they're like, oh, you have a gallstone between your liver and your gallbladder.
Wow. I didn't know that was a thing, a gallstone.
Yeah, they're fat deposits. And because I was so thin before I had her, like, I wouldn't say thin, so I'm very curvy, but I wore size 3 jeans, size 2 jeans. I had a small waist and small boobs, obviously. I had no boobs. And then all of a sudden I started not gaining weight, but kind of gaining weight from pregnancy. And the hormones did not fit well with the fat that I was eating. And then these fat and hormone mixture create these gallstones. It's very common in pregnancy. But no one tells you about it because they hide the fact that pregnancy sucks. Like, women are literally meant to have children. Your whole memory of your pregnancy is erased and you still want to have another one, which is so fucked up. Like, me, I want another child now. God. I don't really want, like, me, rational Jackie, does not want another child, right? It sucks. I remember the pain. I remember being in Home Depot, like, almost having a child on their floor. I remember the Braxton Hicks for months. I remember being in false labor twice. Like, I remember all this, right? But I don't remember giving birth to her. Yeah, I don't. But the thing is, I don't remember any of it. Like, I don't remember the feelings I felt in that moment. I don't remember giving birth to her. I don't remember how scary my C-section was. Like, the emotional attachment that I had to these memories are no longer there.
That's
the weirdest thing, right? Like, I wasn't thinking about this till like last week, right? And then now I want another one. Knowing that I might die, I still want another one.
That's intense.
It's crazy.
Wow. I can't believe your brain would play like a nasty trick like that on you.
All women.
Yeah.
Ask any woman. They'll forget how painful their pregnancy was emotionally. And then they'll remember when they're in the middle of it, but then they'll forget once they have the child.
You remember the physical pain, though, like how much things hurt, right? Okay. You just don't remember what that felt like.
I only remember the extreme pain.
Gotcha.
So I don't remember. So I spent a lot of days in the hospital. Like, the first time was a 14-day stretch, 16-day stretch, and 22.
God damn, that's like almost your whole 3rd trimester.
It was, pretty much. Yeah. And I was on bed rest. And at that time, Grayson was working at a hotel. And luckily, they were so understanding, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I remember the excruciating pain that I woke up in because they couldn't give me any more medications because I was literally rotating Dilaudid every 4 hours, morphine every hour, and they couldn't keep my pain down.
Wow.
And then I don't remember the in-betweens. I do remember waking up after my surgery and them freaking out around me. My parents were there, his parents were there, he was there, and they're like, the baby's heart's not going down, the baby's heart's not going down. And then I remember phasing out. And then I remember waking up again, her heart rate is finally normalized, but now the mom's heart rate's not going down. And then I fade out again. And then, like, what else do I remember? And then I remember finally, like, 2 days later, like, I remember 2 days later, Dr. coming in and saying, you finally look good. And then 2 days after that, I remember going to get a scan done on the big one. What's it called? It's the one where you can't have, like, any metal near it.
Yeah. It's not a CAT. It's a MRI.
Not a CAT scan. Yeah, MRI. So I was in the middle of my MRI. I was on the table. I pass out from pain, like, completely pass out. And then I remember them rushing me somewhere. And then I remember finally waking up a couple of hours later saying, apparently I threw up, I pooped, and, like, all bodily functions went crazy. My heart went crazy.
While you were out?
So, like, when you're in extreme pain or, like, close to, like, being not okay, you could throw up, you could shit, you could, like, my body was not okay in that moment because of pain. I shit the MRI bed.
That's okay. It's funny, but it's all right.
And only Grayson's dad was there, so he didn't like really say anything. It was just me and him, and he didn't say anything about it. He was just like, "You must be in a lot of pain." I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, you came back and you were passed out." So. Oh
my God. Can I use that?
Told me what happened.
I shit my pants. I'm like, I shit my pants. I'm like, sorry guys, I was in a lot of pain. Is that okay?
You can. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna use that one. Oh my God, that's gotta suck.
Oh my God, it does suck.
I haven't been in one of those MRI machines, but
well, you don't want to. It's scary. I have to do them monthly.
I just I have this one memory about them, and it's not mine, obviously, but it was a Japanese like game show where if you laugh at you get something painful happens to you, right? And these guys had to get into an MRI. And so as they were like getting slid back into the MRI, when it finally came to its stopping point, like, directly above you where like the tube kind of fills out, there's another guy laying like parallel to you, but his face is pointed down. So they would slide in and all they would see was this old Japanese man smiling right like up at their face, in their eyes. And then as they got lifted up, he would give them a kiss on the forehead.
Why?
Because it made them all laugh.
That's creepy.
So now I'm like afraid of getting an MRI because I don't want an old Japanese man giving me a kiss on the forehead.
No, so like when you go in, no one's really allowed in the room. The nurse will come in, they'll prep you, give you headphones, put music on for you. Some places have TVs, which is really cool. But for the most part, you're placed on a table, you're giving blankets.
That sounds sure.
Okay, now Grayson's asleep. So Grayson, Hallie, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I call my sisters and my dog and Grayson a bunch of different names.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. So I mix them up sometimes. Yeah, okay, so you lay on the bed, you get to watch a movie or listen to music, and this thing just like spins around you.
Yep.
And you could slightly feel the magnetic field it builds. I don't know if other people could feel this, but I can for sure. It's very uncomfortable. The only bad experience I had one happen for 2 hours. It was a full body scan from my chest down. This fucking nurse. I understand, like, he didn't know what was going on, but he's like, yeah, you have a large mass here. I'll definitely call the doctor and see what it is, but, like, it'll take a couple days. I'm like, please don't tell me this. Like, I'm going to have to sit here freaking out for days what that mass is. Wow. Like, I don't think anyone that's not a professional reader of a screen should, like, one of those things should even mention to the patient what they have. Because I sat there for a whole week, where they didn't tell me what my results were. And they finally told me. And, like, obviously it wasn't great news, but, like, I had to sit there in anxiety filled trying to figure out what was going on. I don't like it. I think the worst scan is, like, getting your kidney scanned, but with an ultrasound, especially if you have a kidney stone.
An ultrasound. That's where they put the jelly on your belly, right?
Yes, jelly on the belly, but on your side instead. And they'll put the ultrasound probe up into your ribs on your back where your kidney is. They'll push it down, push it up so that they can see the kidney properly. But if you have a kidney stone, that fucking hurts. And you have to stay still.
I'm still kind of by up. Up what?
Okay, so imagine you're laying on your side, correct?
Yeah.
So if you put your hand on your waist, your natural waist, go up where your bones start on your what's it called? Ribs. Go push down and go up.
Oh, okay, got it.
But on your backside where your kidneys are. Yeah. Hallie,
oh my God.
Shut the fuck up.
That would hurt. I thought you meant up the one of the no-go zones.
Well, there's also an ultrasound, a vaginal ultrasound.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry for anyone that's listening. I'm going to tell Matt everything. There's a vaginal ultrasound. It's a probe that looks similar to a dildo, but it's thinner and it's curved up. And it's to see your ovaries, your tubes, and all the inner workings of a female body. So when you're between like 4 weeks and I want to say 12 weeks, they use that every single time you get an ultrasound. But
Really?
They don't actually check the size of the baby. They only check once when you first go in for your appointment. But if you're too like young or like too like not far along in your pregnancy, they won't even check.
Right.
So you don't get to first see your child until they get you know if it's a girl or boy. And this is just some doctors. I didn't have that experience because we already knew I was high risk and I had multiple surgeries and whatever. So every single time I'd have to go in weekly, I would have to get a vaginal ultrasound.
Jesus.
And that hurts too.
Intrusive.
It's not that bad, but it hurts. And I have both of my doctors were male. One of my doctors, he was my normal pregnancy doctor, OBGYN. He was the one that delivered Artemis. He also delivered my sisters. So I trust him with everything. Literally, he saved my life 3 times. And then I had another doctor who was a specialist specifically for women that needed surgery while they were pregnant, but they did surgery on children. So when I got pregnant with Artemis, I had the size of your thumb is probably bigger than mine, but imagine the top of your thumb, like where it bends. I had that big of a cyst or a mass in my uterus. So Artemis was competing for space in my uterus, but it was in such a position on the top of my uterus that they couldn't see it while she was in there. So they were very cautious. So in case I had to go into surgery like last minute, if she was competing with too much space or like it was hurting her in any way, I would have to get her removed out of my uterus, like her sac where she's living out of my uterus. And then they would have to remove the mass while she's still living in my uterus in this little bubble. It's not a uterus. It's a
fake.
No, the placenta. Or is it the placenta? No, the placenta is connected to your body to provide nutrients. But there's like this weird bubble that's around the baby. I forgot what it was called. Let me look
Amniotic sac? Amniotic sac?
Yes, the amniotic sac.
How the fuck did I know that?
So imagine Artemis in that little sac having to be remove the mass that was constricting her, whatever, being removed, and then she would have to be placed back. Luckily, I did not have to go through this surgery because the hormones didn't cause further growth because I was on progesterone at the time, and they were thinking it was going to cause more growth. But what was horrible, right behind that mass and right next to the placenta was a hole the size of her head. And because of the way she was placed, she was face down, head down most of the time. Her feet were up. And because of where the mass and the placenta was, they didn't realize there was such a huge hole. And if I went into natural labor and my water broke, I would have died. So
damn.
My body, which was really funny, I was already going into labor. She was early. So she was born at 36 weeks.
Okay.
So I was right on that line of when she was allowed. Yes. So she was allowed to be born, but they didn't want it to happen. But so 2 days before I went to the hospital and finally got her out, I thought I broke my water.
Right.
Turns out, not water. I peed on Grayson. I didn't even know, but it was really scary to think.
Wait a minute. On him. Does that mean you were having sex?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, we were having sex.
Gross. No.
I know.
I mean, beautiful life.
But 2 days later, I wasn't in pain or anything, but I was having really bad contractions. And they weren't that painful, but it just kept happening. My stomach kept tightening, lifting, and then relaxing after a whole minute. So I would have a 1 minute contraction every 4 minutes. And I already knew this was an issue before, I kept going to early term labor, but then I had started a fever. I had a fever of 104. And damn. I almost didn't go in. Grayson was the one that convinced me to go in. And he was like, we're going to have Artemis tonight. I just know it. And then we were driving in, and since they were full, so many babies were coming, they put me in a spare room. And at night, they were just watching me. My fever finally went down, but I was tachycardic and Artemis is tachycardic. And I kept having...
I don't know what that word means.
My heart rate was at 125. And
Holy
she was
fuck.
at 283 or 183 or 200. Her heart
Jesus,
rate was.
dude.
And I kept having contractions, but they weren't consistent, but they were long. They were taking such a long time. And they finally moved me to another room. And then the doctor came in at 5 a.m. He's like, we're going to go ahead and remove her. It seems like she's under distress. It's not that bad. I'm not worried. But your fever keeps coming back. She's tachycardic. Your contraction too long. And it's not consistent. But we'll just go ahead and do the C-section now. So I called my parents. Of course, they were fucking late. They didn't show up on time, so my mom couldn't be in this room with me. But we were being fine. They were trying to explain to us how it's going to work. I was going to feel a bee sting on the back of on the middle of my back, and then I was going to go numb. And they're like, so this may or may not work for you. And they're trying to explain to me there's hot spots, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. So, of course, it worked-ish. I felt them. So I didn't feel them cutting into me until the last layer. I felt them on the last layer.
That hurts.
And it was only on one part. Luckily, it was on like my left corner. It wasn't that bad, but my heart rate started dropping. And I was like, I feel dizzy. And then they fixed it. There's like someone that makes sure that your heart rate doesn't go low or high. And they were talking about baseball. And then all of a sudden, my doctor was like, what is that? Guys, what is this? Do you see this?
Oh, God.
What is this? And we didn't hear Artemis cry yet. Grayson started freaking out because the table was like jolting and he was about to pass out because of how rough they like pull the baby out.
Oh.
It's like, imagine like you're on a white, like a silver table, like, you know, the ones you see in movies when they're doing autopsies.
Yeah.
So you're on that, but there's a blue screen or like blanket covering your parts being taken out pretty much.
Right.
Like put your insides, so your intestines to the side of your body.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that? So when you're having a C-section, they go through the different layers of your skin. They have to go through your muscles, your abdominal muscles, some other type of muscles, like 7 or 8 layers of muscles from what I understand. Or it's like 3 major cuts from what I remember from the video.
Oh, boy.
They take out some of your insides, put it on the side. I don't know if it's specifically on the side, but that's how my doctor explained it to me. And then they take the baby out. They break the thing that they're living in, the embryonic sac. Yeah. And when they did that, they found a hole. They started seeing it was going everywhere. It was going in. And then I don't know what happened. I heard her cry and that was it. Like, I don't remember anymore.
That's probably good. It sounds traumatic.
Oh, it was traumatic because Grayson was standing there. He didn't want to touch the baby. I remember hearing Artemis cry, me like, oh my God, she's crying. And I was so happy. And then my blood pressure started dropping. I was like, I don't feel good. I want to throw up. And then Grayson was like, at the same time, these doctors are saying, what is this? Call this doctor. Let's call another specialist. And there was already 3 fucking specialists in the room. 3 specialists and 3 nurses already in the room. Because they knew my pregnancy was high risk. And I had my OBGYN, I had my cancer doctor, and I had another doctor in there that just did the last surgery I had while I was pregnant. And they had to call another specialist because they couldn't figure out what was going on. And then they went back to talking about baseball so that I felt better, I guess. I don't know. And, I was freaking out. Grayson started freaking out. He wouldn't touch Artemis. As soon as Artemis came out, he said, no, thank you. I'm going to focus on my wife.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. No, that makes sense.
For him, it was like, I'm about to lose my wife, and he didn't want a child to begin with if I were to die. That was a high risk.
I didn't realize that death was on the table.
Yeah, it was. And I knew about it, but I wanted a child so bad. And
that's fair. No, don't. You don't have to explain. I get it.
Yeah. But then I don't remember anything after that. And then I woke up and she refused to feed anything. Like, she refused to take a bottle. I was out for like 2.5 hours, and she refused food from the nurses. My parents got to meet her first, and everyone else got to meet her first, and I never got to see her face. And like, I remember waking up and then going to the next room, and there was my baby in the little bed. Aww. And she was ready to eat. She was just hungry. She was so hungry, and like, they were afraid if I didn't come back that she wouldn't eat, and then she would also pass. Oh boy, that was like one of our biggest fears. Yeah.
So they just put a bunch of stress on you.
Well, they didn't tell me this obviously before I went down. He like, as soon as my blood pressure dropped and I heard something about baseball, I went out. Like, the doctor they gave me something to go out so that they could sew up my hole in my uterus and take out any liquid that went into my lungs or anything like that. So amniotic fluid flooded my lungs and then a couple other places, and they had to remove it. I don't know how. I don't remember. I just remember waking up and seeing Artemis. I have no idea. But I remember waking up in a lot of pain. I'm like, God damn. I just wanted to see her, honestly. And then I stayed at the hospital for 4 or 5 days, and then I finally got to go home.
Oh, you're both living miracles.
Dude, like, she wouldn't eat. That's when they told me she hasn't eaten since she's been born, and she refuses to eat. And they tried force feeding her, and she threw it up, and she just wouldn't eat. So she was like literally starving until I got to her.
So wait a minute. If you were not breastfeeding, is it possible that she wouldn't have eaten at all?
I don't know. Grayson says that. Yeah, like, his parents said it. My mom said it. Like, I'm pretty sure she would have died if he didn't come back. Like, they always make that joke in a way. But I don't know. I hope she would have been fine. I hope she would have given up eventually. But yeah, she's been a booby baby since.
Wait, is she still?
Kind of. Like, she's not being breastfed right now. But if I'm not wearing a bra or a shirt at the time, she'll come and she'll like pull on my boob and like try to eat it. But I keep telling her it's broken. So she'll put her mouth on it. And then she'll like stop. Once she bit me. She bit me the other day, actually.
Oh God.
Yeah. But we slowly weaned out a month after she turned a year.
Oh, okay.
So she was only at like night and mornings. And then I lost my boobs.
What?
Yeah, they go away. So they look really nice and plump when you're pregnant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then now they look like pancakes connected to my body. You think I'm kidding? They're droopy pancakes.
Women are very self-conscious about their boobs when I think it's not that much of an issue. I don't know. I listen. I met plenty of guys who are into small boobs. I've never met one girl who's into small dick. Like,
that's not true. If you know how to
I
do
said
it
I've
right.
never met one. Never met one.
Have you talked to a lesbian yet?
No, they're into no dick. That's different. So I have a question that's super fucking terrible. Okay, this is like real though. Now you were talking about the vaginal, what's it called? Ultrasound, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, having the traumatic, I guess, history that you do, did that bring anything up?
So, luckily, with the doctors that I interacted with, for the most part, didn't. There was this female, though. So, I go to the same hospital every time I have an issue. It's within the same industry. So, like, the hospitals are all named the same, and they're within 15-minute drives of each other. So they all know the doctors I use.
Like a college campus of doctors.
Yes, similar. Yes, very, very similar to that. Luckily, I only really interacted with the doctors specifically who gave me the ultrasound. I never interacted with nurses.
Okay.
Mind, before I got pregnant, I was trying really hard. I went to a local ER, like one of the fast ERs, because I fainted in a Costco, and I was at work. I was actually having a meeting with one of the Costco members or employees, and I had an emergency and I needed to go to a fast ER, and she did an ultrasound on me, she first started on top, didn't say anything, right? I was freaking out because I thought I was pregnant. I was supposed to be 13 weeks at that time. Then I was throwing up. I fainted in the middle of the store. And then I was telling her all this, and then she did a vaginal ultrasound. Mm-hmm. And when she did the vaginal ultrasound, she's like, "You're not pregnant."
What?
Yeah. She has this fucking thing up my vagina. And then all of a sudden, in my mind, I'm 13 weeks pregnant. I've been taking care of my body like I'm 13 weeks pregnant. And then she's like, "You're not pregnant." I got so angry. I left.
So mad.
I didn't give them any information. I just fucking left. I was like, "Nope, I'm not doing this. You can't bill me." And they tried to bill me, and I went straight to their whatever. I fixed it. They can't bill me. I didn't have to pay for this. But she had the worst bedside manner I've ever met. She was either a nurse or the doctor at that location or whatever. And I just went straight to my doctor, and they're like, I wasn't pregnant at the time anymore. I was pregnant. The baby was no longer viable. I had a miscarriage that day. Shortly after I found out that I wasn't pregnant, 2 hours later, I had the miscarriage.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So how it happens is you get impregnated. It's a little cell. It's like a little dot in your uterus. Your uterus is dark instead of being clear or white on the ultrasound. And you could see this little dot. And that little dot keeps growing and growing to a certain size. And then at 13 weeks, you get a checkup. And usually there's a time period where you're no longer at risk for a miscarriage. But the baby didn't have a heart at that time or something. It was just not viable. I don't remember what happens at 13 weeks that makes it unviable. My HCG levels didn't increase at all. It plateaued. It was a bunch of things. And my doctor was like, "Hey, Jackie, your pregnancy is not viable. And the next couple hours, if you have any extreme bleeding, pain, or anything like that, just come back." 2 hours later, I was home, was taking a shower. I was crying with Grayson. And then, of course, I started bleeding everywhere, and that was the first, bad miscarriage that I had. And then after that, every miscarriage sucked after that. It was
How many
horrible.
did you have?
I had, altogether was 5 miscarriages, but I only had 4 before I gave birth to Artemis.
Wait, you had one after?
No. So that my first miscarriage, I was 19.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant, and it was before I knew I had cysts or any issues with my uterus or anything like that. I never had a period, so I ignored it. I didn't know I was pregnant. Yeah, I had a period when I was from 9 to 12 or 13, and then I stopped having periods after I turned 13.
I wonder what that was about.
It was because I had hormone issues. I had hormone issues. I had cysts. There were so many issues that I just ignored because, I didn't know it was not okay to have no period. My parents weren't educated enough to teach me this, and if they were, they just didn't tell me. So I went most of my life thinking I was never going to be able to get pregnant. I never went to the doctor. I didn't go on birth control or anything like that. So I dated this guy. Him and I were together for a long time. I found out I was pregnant in my mom's home, my bio mom's home. I was sitting on the couch and I started bleeding everywhere. I woke up with blood all over me. The guy I was dating at the time was at the door, and he sees this, so he thinks I got murdered or something.
Oh my God.
He takes me to the hospital, and I was laying there, and the lady comes in. She's like, "Oh, you're 5 months pregnant, but there's an issue." And I was like, "What? First, I'm pregnant? What the fuck?" And 5 months, 5 fucking months. And they showed me the baby. I didn't know if it was a girl or boy, but in my heart, it was a boy. And this was from my ex-boyfriends, right? Not from the guy I was dating at the time. I let him know, and he told me to get rid of the baby. He told me, I want you to get a abortion. Yeah. A Christian fucking man. I want you to have an abortion. So I took the money. I didn't have the abortion, obviously, because I knew the baby was going to be able to be viable. So like a week after I went to the hospital, I had an appointment to get my uterus scraped and the baby removed medically. And then the day before,
scraped.
Oh yeah, you get your whole uterus scraped. It's fucking
scraped.
Horrible.
It sounds painful.
Scraped. Every man should know that it gets scraped to get it removed from my body, and the man will never understand this. But the day before I had my procedure, I ended up going into labor, and my sisters didn't know. Yeah, I was sleeping next to my boyfriend at the time. My sisters were in the next room, and I was in excruciating pain. Like, I've never felt pain like this. Like, my number one pain is my gallbladder, because that was horrible. But I was having contractions so bad, my water broke. I was 5 months pregnant. My water broke on my mom's bed, my bio mom's bed, and she had no idea what was going on. Obviously. Well, I don't talk about it.
No, I know. It makes me think of a superhero, like Biotic Mom.
Oh, that's funny. But that was my first, and then I ended up having to go to the hospital right away after that, and then I had the surgery.
Damn.
But after that, they're like, you won't be able to have children. And they convinced me of that. Yeah, they told me you can't have children. It's a high risk. You're like, these are all the issues you have. You need to start going to the doctor to like fix your hormones, blah, 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 blah. And then I met Grayson. And like literally a month from when I met him, I got pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Right? And we had no idea, obviously. We had no idea. But I ended up being pregnant from him. And then after that, we tried every single time.
Magical.
And I would get pregnant almost immediately after I lost the last one. I was able to have sex. I'd get pregnant immediately.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's like it's meant to be almost.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my childbearing story.
That's actually more like a hospital time story, but it's true. It does cover it both. God damn. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening this far, and I didn't think you'd make it. We appreciate it very much. Just if you could do us a favor and go find us anywhere and follow us, rate, subscribe.
We'll be under the tree meditating.
Yes.
Go find us.
I will have a rainbow coming out of my head.
I was hoping you would say ass.
I will have a rainbow coming out of my ass.
Like a unicorn.
Yeah, like, wait, what? We're at Twitter, Magic for Humans, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. The link is through the website on that one, which is magicforhumans.com as well. Oh, we have a second Instagram, which is Magic4Humans, the number 4, and then with an S.
Like, comment on all our pictures, videos, and download, and give us stars on the iTunes, please. The iTunes.
Yes, especially the iTunes. But anywhere you get your podcasts or podcarts, rate, subscribe, and comment, please. We will read the positive comments on air.
Ooh, that's nice.
We'll read the negative ones too, because it'll be fun. Don't leave negative ones though.
If anyone leaves us a 1-star rating, I will go and murder you in your sleep, in your dreams, and then you'll wake up and be murdered again every time you go to bed.
You'll be living the same day over and over. It's like,
but you're not sure if you're awake or asleep.
It's deja vu. And please feel free to go to the website and send in any art. Music is great. Drawings are great. Jokes are great.
That you find that inspire you from our podcast, we will gladly look at it, post it, or even promote you as well. So thank you very much for any artwork that's sent in.
Yes, thank you very much. Go to the website, check out our gallery there where we're going to have, featured artists and featured selected art. Also on the website, we do have Venmo and PayPal if you want to support us to get this, I guess, project off the ground.
Way. Yes.
It really does. Our editor isn't cheap and I talk a lot. Help. Back to the show.
Women have to go through a lot. Like, no one, understands, other than another woman, how much they had to go through. And then on top of that, we have social media that tells us how a perfect birth story is supposed to look like.
Oh, I know.
How a perfect pregnancy is supposed to fucking look like. You know, I'm tired of seeing that shit. I wish I took pictures while I was going through all this shit to post it and say, like, this is what it actually looks like to give birth. This is what it actually looks like to be pregnant. Like, I wish someone out there will do that for me.
If I had photos, I would absolutely do that.
Gosh.
I'm going to have to. Should I ever have a kid, I will definitely make sure to get photos of my wife and make sure that makes public attention.
For some reason, I've been seeing this like on the news and TikTok and YouTube. There's a lot of arguments going out, especially within the Gen Z era. I don't want to bring a kid into this world because of how it is. Why would I cause suffering into them? That's
what a lot of my generation also is kind of thinking.
Okay, so what about you? Do you want to bring a child into this world with everything that is going on in the climate that we're living in currently?
It's tough, but that's not the main reason. Like that, don't get me wrong, that's a thought I have voiced before. It usually gets met with, oh, well, you're just being selfish, right? Like that's not your real reasoning. We really just don't want, something else that you have to look after, something else that's going to, spend your money, or something else that's going to, take away from your video game time is generally the counter argument. And then
in your head?
No, what people say when I say I don't want to have kids, and it's because like I don't think it would be fair to bring anyone into this world currently.
Okay.
To them. And that's usually met with those arguments, to which I would say, well, don't you think like the most selfish thing you could do is think this world needs more of me? Like having a kid is like the ultimate and selfishness. No, not really, but that's my like argument against arguments. I wouldn't ever posit that theory otherwise. But I think right now it's just that I guess it is selfish. I kind of enjoy having free time, and I don't mean it like that, but do you know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
Well, so I guess I get it. No, continue. No, I want to understand more before I answer.
Sure. So I guess originally the thought process was, how can I raise a kid when I can't take care of myself fully, right? Mm-hmm. So I got to fix all of that shit first. Then I can have a kid. Like right now.
That's the thing. So like, you're always going to look for something. Oh, I need to have this before I can do this. You get to that point. I still need this before I do this. It will never be enough, right? You'll never be perfect enough parent to have, or to believe that you're worthy of having a child, or however you look at it. No, but I don't know how else to word that without saying worthy.
No.
So,
I get it. And I've heard that before. That's not the thing. I'm not looking for a reason. Yeah. It's like, I literally don't want to raise a kid while I'm still like every once in a while, partying, drinking, doing drugs. Like that's not the person who should be raising a kid. So
that's not true. You could still be your own person and still raise a child. Like, take me for example. I still work. I still have a social life. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know about the social life, but
I have friends. Okay,
you do. I'm one of them.
I have you guys. Exactly. Y'all are my social life. But I don't. It's not like I do hard drugs, but I smoke every night. I still take a drink when I feel like it. Like my husband still hangs out with his friends. Like our life changed in the fact that we have to think of someone else before we do something. And when I said before we do something, like don't forget to bring her food because we've done that before.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I don't eat every other day. So like I think I would forget
something we're struggling with. We forget that like she needs to eat more than we do. Like, I will sit there and I'll forget that I didn't feed her lunch. But obviously, I have Grayson to back me up because he will. But there are moments when we're together where we just don't realize she might be hungry or, like, she might be tired. And that's normal. I know that one. That's okay. I convinced myself that is okay. That's why there's 2 of us.
Right.
But I see why people are like, I'm not bringing my child into this world and like what's going on. But at the same time, that's how you perceive the world. Like the way I perceive the world is totally different from that.
Oh, I don't have a problem with the way the world is anymore. Like as far as bringing a child into it, because it's always going to be fucked up. There's really no changing that.
Yeah.
At this point, it really is. It's I can't keep a goldfish alive. Granted, I didn't birth that goldfish, you know.
I couldn't either. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, fuck it, man. Maybe I should have a kid.
It just makes sense. Like once you have one, your life changes and the way you think of it changes.
That, and I don't like it.
It's weird. Like literally, it's like a switch. When you see that thing that you created and then that's part of you, you just love it so much you want to squeeze it.
I know. I know that feeling where you want to squeeze something until it like.
But imagine wanting to do that all the time, or like I had a bad day today, right? It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And I just needed to see her. And she was also grumpy too. But still seeing her made it better until she got really, really grumpy. But like,
you guys had a pity party together?
I wish.
Yeah.
She made it worse, honestly. But that like idea that I could even look at a picture of her and I'm like happier, like so much happier.
That's
just
pretty
from, like,
cool.
Being around her.
That's really cool. I like it.
Yeah.
That's something you really can't like explain or trade in well.
Yeah, no, there's like nothing that really compares to like being around her. It's really cool.
It's interesting. I mean, I know I've had a lot of, being early to mid 30-year-old, a lot of people that didn't have kids right away are now starting to have kids. And I hear them all saying the same thing. And it's like,
it's
wild.
like a switch. It like happened in one day, but the feeling of being a parent hasn't happened to me yet. I still don't feel like I'm mom. It's really weird.
Does it make you, oh, never mind. You had a weird childhood.
Well, explain. I want to hear this thought now.
Yeah, of course. As I say, does it, I want to say not disengage, but more like, all right, growing up, did you think your, at least dad, was like infallible? Like,
I don't know.
He seemed like, not like an adult. He just seemed like the adult. He had everything in order, all his shit together.
No.
Everything. Okay.
From
my parents were that.
I knew they weren't.
Yeah, my parents were on that list until I turned about 14 or 15.
Really?
And it was, yeah.
So they just like didn't mess up, or like you didn't see it?
Exactly. They didn't mess up, or I didn't see it. I don't know.
Huh. No, I make it obvious to Artemis. Like, I'm clumsy. I do something. I say, uh-oh, or like, hey, I messed up, or
no.
When I'm having a bad day, I tell her, like, straight up, there are some days where I have to sit her. I'm like, Artemis, I'm so sorry. I'm having a bad day. And like, I know she may not understand me at that moment, but me consistently telling her that I'm not feeling great or I'm having a bad day will make her understand that I'm not perfect. I don't want her to ever think I'm perfect, because I'm not. I don't know.
No, that's super healthy, and I think that is the best way to address this. Not address it, but you know what I mean. The best way to raise a child. You won't?
I cry in front of, no, because she gets scared.
But isn't that a good thing?
No, I couldn't. Like, you remember the other day when I told you I had a really bad anxiety attack in the bathroom?
Yep.
Okay. So she saw me have a really bad anxiety attack. She freaked out. She freaked the fuck out. And then I just went, like nothing happened. I just like smiled. I held her, and like I didn't cry, and I haven't cried since.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I switched. Like, I don't know if you ever, like, has your mom ever told you, hey, you shouldn't cry or I'll give you a reason to cry?
No, my parents never. I mean, only in jest.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've heard that. No, I've heard that in jokes. Them say that to me, but they never actually said it and meant it.
Seriously? No.
Yeah.
Like, my mom would beat the shit out of me, and she's like, if you really want something to cry about, I'll give you more to cry about.
Yeah, and I know I know the expression.
If I was scared or something and I start crying, she would say that to me. So if someone freaks out when I'm crying, I completely shut out and like I like revert back to being fine. Like I don't feel like I'm sad. I'm not scared or anything. Like I have no feelings in that moment for like a long time.
That's
like,
kind of scary.
A long time. Yeah. So like today that happened to me. I don't know, because so that was the last time it happened to me, and I haven't felt anything until today. Like, so today I was at my friend's house, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know.
I was helping him
personally.
do work. Yeah, no, I talk about him. I was at his house, and we were sitting there. We were working. I was teaching him how to pull data, whatever. And then his mom, I hear screaming, like high-pitched screaming. And he has this brother who's 7, and he was doing work in the kitchen table, but I didn't know what was going on. And I just hear her say, why are you being like this? Stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh shit.
And then I just hear more screaming, and he's just crying, a 7-year-old crying, right? She comes into his room angry, and Chris is angry at this point too, because he's going to protect his little brother. They're only like half brothers or whatever. And she comes in the room. She's like, Brody's crying because he's constipated. I got so mad. I just told her, like, I'll give you something to cry about. You shouldn't be crying about constipation. Like, that's nothing. You know what to do about that kind of shit. And in my mind, I'm like, she doesn't understand. He's like 7, right? And she's screaming at Chris. And then Chris started screaming back, like, Mom, he's a kid. He's 7. And, like, they were screaming back and forth. And, like, all of a sudden, I was staring at Chris's face. I disassociated. I stopped having feelings. And I got really scared, and I shut myself down. And I've been feeling like that all day. So
that's intense.
Yeah.
I did have an uncle who would say that to me, but he never hit me. I think he was just kind of fucking around.
No, that's abuse. That's abuse.
But no, my parents never, no. I remember,
even when you were a kid.
Yeah, like, never.
Never gave you a tap on your butt. Bow bow.
Nope.
Have they ever left you in the middle of the street and told you they were going to leave you?
Nope.
There.
No. No.
Did they ever lock you outside the door of your house?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh. I guess my trauma is a lot worse than I thought.
Yeah, it's a lot
worse. So, like, my grandmother and my mother, whenever we would get in trouble, right? So I remember this one specific day. My sister got in trouble because, well, she was finding things out about her body. She touched herself. You know, she was masturbating, and she was only, 7?
Holy shit.
It happens, okay?
That reminds me of something. No. It's about my niece, but that's okay. Go for it.
Okay. Wait, no. Tell me. Now I need to know. Wait, how do you know this about your niece? That is not okay.
I don't know anything about my niece. I just remember we had this, it was like a metal, guard, a handle that you would use to, walk, or handlebar you would use to walk downstairs. We had one of those that led down into the pool, down the stairs into our pool. Mm-hmm. And she used to slide down that, butt towards the pool, slide down it on her stomach.
Yeah.
And she would talk about how good it felt, and I always thought that was fucking weird.
Okay. No. One, what I understand she told you. Okay, let's just don't think about that one. Don't be that person.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying
it's common.
When you said that, it made me think of it.
So boys realize their parts at a young age, but around 4 or 5, they start to play with themselves. At 6 is the first time they can feel anything, right?
Wow.
For females, same thing. They start to feel everything around 7, 6 years old, and they start exploring. There's nothing wrong with that. No. It's just parents, in their mind, they put such a negative thing about that part of their childhood, and it's bad, apparently, right? Yeah. So my sister was going through this, and it was bad. She got caught. And my grandmother, well, she got caught for something. I got in trouble for running around in the kitchen when my mom's told me to stop 3 times that day, right? Yeah. So she's like, you're going to see after dinner what's going to happen to y'all, right? And to my sister and I was 8, she was 7. It was so fucking scary. I was so scared. I was eating dinner. I barely wanted to eat because I had a stomach ache now because I was anxious. And then after dinner, we cleaned up everything. And my grandmother said, go get your shoes, go get a jacket. We're going somewhere.
Oh, boy.
And then she drove to the middle of nowhere. And it was probably not far for them. It was probably somewhere close. But to us, we were so far away. We were in the middle of the woods, and my sister in my head. And there was a snake. Like, we heard a snake in the bushes or whatever, and I started just bawling, crying. And my grandmother said, get out of the car. We're leaving you. You're not allowed back home. You're going to stay here. And she says, no, I don't want you anymore. You're not a good child. She said all these things. And my sister and I were, like, holding on to her, begging. And she left us there for 5 whole minutes. But it felt like to my sister and I, like, forever, right?
Yeah.
And, like, she did this multiple times to us.
What?
Yeah. I
should be
remember,
locked
like,
up.
5 specific times that she did this to us. The last one was so bad that she said she would never do it again.
Good.
Because the last time I gave up. Like, the last time she told me this, I ran. Like, I completely just ran. I ran away. They couldn't find me for an hour. I built, like, something in the tree so that I could, like, stay safe or whatever. But I ran. And they said they wouldn't do it to us again. But...
Damn. That is wild. Yeah, I can think of one specific instance where I saw my dad anything other than level, where he got momentarily agitated was one time.
What'd you do?
I cried after striking out at a baseball game.
Aw, that's sad.
Yeah.
I'd be sad too.
Yeah.
He probably thought you were a pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, he thought you were a ball sack because pussy is strong. You're a ball sack. Ball sacks can't withstand anything. Flick them to the nuts and they're down.
No, that means pussies can't withstand anything.
Exactly. We bear children, but a ball sack, you flick them, man is down for the rest of their day. Might not even have children at that point. So you were a ball sack in that moment, not a pussy.
That's true. I'm pretty much always a ball sack, so.
I like this new word. It should be implemented in the new language.
It should be. When we do Newspeak, we'll definitely make sure to add that one to the lexicon.
All right, cool.
So, yeah, I think it was around 14, maybe 15 when I realized, my parents are not super people. They're just adults who
kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah, not really. They fake it well. That's when I realized they were human, and that's when I was like, holy shit. So I wonder if most people I wonder if most people take that long to realize their parents aren't human, if that makes any sense.
I don't know.
What age did you realize? Like early, before 8, I assume.
The first memory I have, which kind of sucks, I realized that they sucked.
And how old was that roughly?
So it's my first memory of anything. Like if I were to go back to my first memory, this is my first memory. So I don't know how old I was.
Oh.
I have no idea. I remember, but I was old enough to sit in a booster seat. So like my first memory, and I'm talking a lot, not only because I'm stressed, but I'm high and I'm on pain meds. So I'm sorry, Matt. I know I'm not letting you talk a lot.
I don't have much to say, actually.
Okay, cool. So my first memory, I was in a car with my mom and dad. My sister was next to me, but we were old enough to be in a booster seat in the 90s. I don't know how old that is now, but I know it's like 7 or 8. No, 7 or 8 now, but I don't know how you had to be in a booster seat in the 90s. Right?
Anything over 2?
I don't know. But
no, I'm telling
we
you.
were in the backs. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So anything over. So maybe it was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, maybe.
We were in because it was in a booster seat too. So I would have to be 4. So she would have to be 3.
Okay.
I remember getting into. Distract me. I remember getting into this tan long truck, like the ones. It was like a tan long truck. I don't know how to explain it. Like the ones that you see in movies of the 90s or whatever.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Or not truck. It's like a car, but it's a long car.
It's a station wagon.
No, more like a Cadillac, but not a Cadillac. I think it was something else at the time. But it looks like a Cadillac now. But like
I think you're thinking of a station wagon.
Really? Oh, I don't
think
know.
So. I'll Google. I'll send you a picture later. You can verify.
Okay. So I remember getting into there, my parents buckling us in, right? And then I remember my dad going really fast. And then I remember glass bottles hitting our car. We had like a bunch of glass bottles on the floor too.
What?
And my mom was drinking something and she was throwing these glass bottles out the window. And then I remember blue and red lights. I remember going to my uncle's apartment. And then that was the last time I saw them for a long time.
Your parents got a DUI.
Probably. That's what I'm thinking happened, because I remember this is the first time that I really interacted with my Arabic uncle. He's not really our uncle, he's a family friend.
Okay.
But that was the first time that I knew my parents were not normal, because they were gone for so long.
That's intense.
And then my second memory was me and my sister sliding down the stairs in an apartment complex and breaking.
Oh my God.
That's my second
like
memory.
A limb or something at the apartment,
I don't know. I just remember hearing, "Oh, you broke it," and that's it.
Oh shit.
Like I have a lot of gaps in my memory, and I understand that's just trauma. So.
You want to hear my first memory?
Yes, it must be better than mine, I hope.
Well, here's what's funny is my first memory is I was at show and tell at the preschool in the tiny little rural town. I spent like age 0 to 5 in, and I was showing off my Batman action figure and the Bat Cave, like that came with it, and that's my first memory was showing off the Batman and the Bat Cave. Thank you. I saved that one for some reason, but I do remember. I think I crashed 4 different cars into 3 different houses between like ages 0 and 5. Well, it was real rural middle of the forest town, like one road, like a few hundred people.
Wait, why were you driving a car?
I never was. So they would buy cars that were manual transmissions, and I would get in and pretend to play race car and eventually just hit the car into neutral on a descending driveway into the house, and the car would just kind of listlessly roll into the house.
What the fuck?
Doesn't say a lot for emergency brakes, I'll tell you what.
I'm glad we have them now.
That I remember, and I've heard a few times that my brother and my sister were teenagers, like when I was a child, so they were spending these years, like the 2 of those cars I crashed were theirs. And they would throw, ragers, as it were, on the weekends. And so,
gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, have your parents there?
We were both working, like, on weekends. Try to make ends meet or whatever. So my brother and sister would throw parties. I was like 4. I think my younger brother was 2. And they were both in high school. And I just remember every Sunday morning, I think, or it might have been Monday morning, we would play cleanup, where we would go clean up, just clean the house up. We'd clean the house up and, just the surrounding area around. And my brother and my sister would tell stories about how they knew they were in trouble because me and Tim would, come traipsing up to the house, and we'd each have like a beer bottle in each hand. Like we were cleaning up, and when we'd walk the perimeter of the house to clean stuff up, all we'd find were empty beer bottles.
Oh gosh, that's bad. Damn.
It's kind of funny, but yeah, it is kind of bad. I remember, I think I got drunk when I was very young. I think I stole a beer from, I don't know, somewhere. And I remember drinking 4, 5, 6 maybe.
Artemis did have alcohol on Mother's Day. It was an accident.
You drank and then she breastfed?
No, she picked up my aunt's alcoholic drink,
boy.
And chugged. She started chugging, and then we just saw her coughing in the corner, and we looked at what she was drinking, and it was like, I think it was like a sparkly seltzer thing, so she couldn't tell what it was. And she was just drinking that. And we all were laughing